yesterday we increased our price to $15,000, closed the first 2 calls we got on, both produced from ads.
So you're probably spending close to about 15-ish K a month. What type of returns are you getting on a cash or revenue basis on that per month?
7 times.
What's up, everybody? I got Justin Wenzel on the other line over here today. Justin is a client of Authority Income Accelerator, and man, I'm excited to have you on this call. Would you like to give everybody a quick intro of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, man. So my name is Justin Wenzel, and I'm the CEO and founder of JW Fit. We're one of the fastest growing online coaching communities. We used to say agency, but that's not what it is anymore. It's a community.
Yeah, I think a lot of like the biggest transition I've seen a lot is everything moving over the community side of stuff, because everybody's working so much online. It's like when you build a community, people invest just to get in the community sometimes nowadays.
I agree. And like with any community, the more you put into it, the more you get out, right? Jay, I think I learned a lot from being in AIA with your style of ethos. It kind of helped me put a lot of that into, we already had that existing, but I think I was able to level it up a lot more. So as much as why I hired you originally, it turned out to be really more inspiring on just the way that I wanted to bring what you do kind of into my own community. And again, we had a lot of it, but there were some certain things when it comes to ethos that we were able to bring into ours that I think we share.
Good. I'd love to hear that, man. And speaking of that, what would you say, just kind of like right off the bat, like what was the biggest win or the biggest thing that you kind of adopted from working with me and the AIA team?
I think one of the biggest things is understanding and tracking KPI. You preached it from like day one. And when I first started, it was just chaos for me. And then once I finally got an understanding, now, of course, I ended up hiring out somebody just to do it for me, but it was good to understand so I could make educated decisions on what I'm doing. And now, our ads are performing really, really well. And I'm able to, like, nowadays, like, I let shit just, can I swear? Sorry. I let stuff just run, and we're seeing an incredible return on what we're spending. And I think I'm spending $1,000 every 2 days right now.
Nice. So you're probably spending close to about 15-ish K a month. What type of returns are you getting on a cash or revenue basis on that per month?
7 times.
7 times. That's awesome, man. I think that speaking of that, like you mentioned something that a lot of business owners don't do is they try to just hire everything out first rather than understanding it. So could you shed some light on like what you just said about like you understanding it first and then bringing on someone else to like run it for you?
Yeah. So if you remember, when I first signed up with you, I was spending the month in Tulum, and I sat by the beach with my laptop and I watched every single video. I already had every intention of hiring it out. I don't have time to do all of that, but I had the downtime and I was sitting in a beautiful spot and I just literally watched every single video and tried to have a good understanding. Of course, I sped it up because you suggested we do that at the beginning of the videos, but I sped it up and I really took some time to understand it, because also the other thing too is like, if I want to have an organization that's going to try to push people towards doing things like advertising, maybe sending people your way, so on and so forth, I want to be able to have the best, understanding of it myself. If I'm not practicing what I preach, then there is no authenticity in my business and in what I do.
Yeah, that's huge. And you said something very important that we hear all the time, and I'm sure you hear it too, is the whole thing of I don't have time. And you made time. You were literally in Tulum as you're running a company to do this. So what do you say to anyone that is, ever on the fence of anything and their biggest excuse is I don't have time?
Bullshit. If you want it, you'll make the time. And I would suggest like actually checking yourself. Look at your day to day. What are you really doing? I know for myself, like my schedule, right now it's 6:30 here. I've been up since 4 a.m. working on my business. And guess what? I'm going to be clean by 9 a.m., which is going to be my first sales call. And I know that the rest of the day I can focus on generating and training, obviously, because, that's what I like to do. And then by the time my wife gets home from work, I'm clear. I'm good to go for the rest of the evening to spend time with her. Wake up earlier. Check yourself.
Wake up earlier and check yourself. I think that's 100% because when people say they don't have the time, it's just they're not prioritizing what they need done. And I think you elaborate on that perfect. As far as, with the structure of the business, I'm assuming you've been in other coaching businesses and had other mentors. Is that right?
Yeah, I've hired like 12.
What would you say the biggest thing that was different about us compared to everybody else?
Well, your structure and presentation is fantastic. The modules are very informative and simple to navigate around. I didn't have a lot of time spent inside your community as a whole, but from what I was able to, as from the outside looking in, it just makes sense. Again, like I said, the community side of it looks really good. I wish I could have spent more time actually engaging with everybody. But I really needed curriculum and then one-on-one guidance, in which case I was able to, utilize what I think I utilized you guys pretty well. I don't even know that I got everything out of it. And if I did, maybe I would have had a lot more success even still, but from what I was able to pull together and use, I've definitely been able to see a massive advance in my company.
Nice. Love to hear that, brother. And how did you find out about me and the AIA team?
Well, you're Justin, and when I saw your ad, I'm gonna right away when I see another Justin, I'm like, well, this guy's got to be dope. No, I saw your ad and it made sense. It spoke to me. It was exactly what at that time what I needed. I was, obviously had my coaching business, my coach to client business, and that was already really successful. And I had started to do what I now have turned into this community. But I wasn't sure if I really wanted to put all my eggs in that basket. And if you remember, you DM'd me and you said, I think we go this route. Because as a coach to client, dude, I had like 250 clients at that time that were like pretty much all on an automated subscription process. And going in the other direction was obviously much more high ticket. Now we are very high ticket. Yesterday we increased our price to $15,000, closed the first 2 calls we got on, both produced from ads.
Nice.
Sorry, I don't share every win. You guys you get sick of me. Yeah, it was definitely that. Then what I would tell you is this, okay? So you had mentioned some things about calling out your avatar instantly. And I definitely do that when I go to coaching. But let me tell you about this spillover. Okay. Because now I have 330 clients on automated, subscription based products, mid ticket for fitness coaching. Okay. So I started to do more advertisements directed just towards a mindset, which could be open to people that want to become coaches. Have you seen my ad where I'm like, listen up, I did not get sober to be this. I did not, whatever, right? Well, what I'm finding is a spillover, okay? Which is kind of interesting. So I'm seeing a lot of people that are coming in off that ads that are people that went through some shit and then ended up wanting to become coaches. But I'm also finding some people that are going through some shit that need coaches. And that ad is working twofold for me. I signed 3 people up at $2,000 a month just on coach to client programs, which is cool. I mean, yeah, I like the high ticket stuff, but I'll take those subscriptions all day long.
That's awesome, man. What do you think? I mean, I think the biggest thing that I've seen from you is, changing your prices to be more high ticket and more value to the industry. How big of an impact has that had in your business?
My guys are getting paid more. We're getting better clients. I mean, you know what it is. The people that are more invested are typically the people that take things more serious. And at the end of the day, we sell results. We don't sell programs. So if I have people that are just barely getting in at $5,000 programs, they don't take that shit serious. But I have people that are already professional, treat themselves like professionals. We're able to have $15,000 in their savings accounts. Those people are usually going to treat things a little more serious. So quality of client, right? My staff is getting paid more and I'm getting better quality of clients that are putting in the work, that are actual workhorses.
Because I think that's the one thing that we always preach and teach is those who can pay the most can play the most. Meaning if you're selling higher ticket, you can spend more money to acquire a client on the back end. And that's where a lot of people mess up when they first get into the ads, is like you try to go low ticket, but it doesn't work, because you have to have that happy medium where you can spend more money to acquire the client. You've clearly done that for yourself. So congrats, man. It's been really exciting to see you grow. Last two questions for you. And I always like to ask this because it's interesting to hear your thoughts. We'll just keep price disclosed right now, but let's just say hypothetically we charged you double of what you paid to join the program. Would you still be on this call and would you still be happy with your outcome?
Yeah. I think if you remember, I didn't even flinch at the price initially. So, yeah. I believe in mentorship. I believe in guidance. I believe in paying for this kind of stuff. I'm not going to go 6 months without a fucking car trying to figure out how to fix it myself.
That's facts. That's a good analogy, too. For anyone that's on the fence, thinking about joining AIA, what would you say to them?
Trust the process. You guys present yourself very, very well. My first call was with Joe. Okay. And I'm in sales. I think sometimes the best salespeople are the easiest sold, right? But Joe, he was so relatable. He definitely described, first of all, he was able to get to know me at first. And his whole entire process was fantastic, to the point that I felt comfortable before I even came in. And then upon coming in, it just made sense. So definitely, I mean, if you're looking at you guys specifically, it's the presentation. And at the very beginning, that's what made sense to me. I've hired mentorships that were clusterfucks to begin with, and it turned out being a clusterfuck at the end. And sometimes the beginning of a business relationship is great, but the most important thing is how things kind of end up. And in this case, here we are, I think almost a year later, 8 months later, and we're able to communicate on this type of level. And I believe I'm still a client of yours. I don't know if I still am a client of yours. I hit my ROI. So I think now we're just homies. But at this point, I mean, I'm happy with everything.
I love that, man. And kind of like with what you said, and we'll wrap it up from here, is like, I do the same thing. I buy into programs to, one, always have a coach around, but also to level up my network. And even that's kind of like why we built the program that we're in now, is like we have people like you. And like you said, it's like we've come to the point where we're homies now. And I think that's something where if anyone's ever watching this and you're like, how do I level up my network, or how do I get around higher quality people? Well, you join masterminds like this, and then you get around people like me, like Justin, other members in here that are doing 7 figures, some even doing 8. So it's one of those things where you got to pay to play. And I think that's kind of, if I had to put a theme on this conversation that we have, is you got to pay to play to get what you want out of life.
100%. I said something about this yesterday, actually. Anybody that values price first is destined to have a mediocre result and probably a mediocre life. Anybody that values price before actual value and results is destined to have a mediocre life.
Well, Justin, I appreciate you hopping on, man. It's been amazing to see you grow. Amazing that we built this relationship as well. And I continue to look forward to seeing your success, man.
Thank you. You too, man.